Hey everyone, in today's video I'm going to talk to you about what vehicle my guests prefer to rent over a Rolls-Royce, and get this, it costs less than $30,000. And unfortunately, it is not my Corvette C8, so let's find out what car is it. I'm creeping by the local Rolls-Royce dealership because I love to just see what inventory they have on the lot, and these cars are absolutely gorgeous. I mean, I'm a huge fan. The way that they're built is amazing. There's a Cullinan right there. I think I spotted a Dawn or a Wraith in the back, and they're just gorgeous. But there is one car that my renters prefer to rent over the Rolls, and it's under $30,000, so let's find out. And it is a Vanderhall Venice. Now, most people are not even familiar with these autocycles because they are still so new and just really unheard of, but people absolutely love renting the Vanderhall. And in a couple of minutes, I'm going to get into why that is, why they prefer that over a Rolls-Royce, what the numbers are on something like this, and exactly what type of margins you can see when listing something like this on the platform. And just a reminder, guys, if you like this video, be sure to hit the like button. I'm going to do a test drive in the Vanderhall as well, so you guys can all look forward to that in the video. But I'm really excited to jump in the numbers, so let's go do this. Now let's talk about perceived value, which is also why I like the Corvette C8 so much, is because for the price, the perceived value of this car is incredible. People just love the way that it looks. It's designed incredibly well. It's mid-engine, and they've just done a phenomenal job in the way that they redid the Corvette, and I absolutely love it. But like I mentioned, the Vanderhall is the car of choice for people over the Rolls-Royce. Now, I myself was very surprised to hear this when my renters have started coming back to me with this type of feedback. I've been renting the Vanderhall Venice on the Turo platform for years now, and it is a phenomenal autocycle, reverse trike, motorcycle, whatever you want to call it, based on whatever state you're in, that money can buy for under $30,000. It is just incredible. Now, for those of you that have been following me, I have had a little bit of a love-hate relationship with the Vanderhall because of some of the issues that have just continued to show up time and time again. But you can click on the card below to watch some of my previous videos on that. But for today's purpose, we're going to move on to reason number 2 why people prefer the Vanderhall over a Rolls-Royce. Now, I get it. Rolls-Royce versus Vanderhall, it's not even apples to oranges. It's like apples to like broccoli, right? Completely different. I get it. One's a car, the other one's not even considered a car. Craftsmanship, price, I mean, it's just incredibly different, right? But what you have to stop and think about is how our world is changing these days and what people are assigning value to. These days, perceived value and even perceived cost is very important to account for, to think of, especially from a business perspective, right? And I kind of, as I was thinking about making this video today, I thought a lot about what's been going on with this NFT craze lately, right? We have such prominent figures in society like Jack Dorsey, for example. He is selling, or if he hasn't already sold it, his first tweet for something crazy like $2.5 million because somebody assigned that value to something like that. Or we have the artist Beeple, who auctioned off his digital art for something crazy like $69 million on Christie's. And everyone has opinions about what's going on in regards to that. But the lesson that I took away from what I'm seeing with NFTs is how people really value status and perceived value and the way something looks and the way that that thing makes them look, right? Which is why I think time and time again, I've had so many renters come back to me, and I've experienced this myself personally as well. They get so excited that the Vanderhall gets way more looks than any Rolls-Royce or Bentley or any high-end luxury car. One of the most common reviews I've gotten on this car is, hey, we were visiting Southern California, we drove down PCH and we stayed at the Ritz-Carlton. Valet parked the Vanderhall right up front, right next to a Rolls-Royce. But the Vanderhall got all the looks, it got all the attention, and that is what made the trip for these people. So people just have that feeling of status, that they're driving something that is of value. It's that whole, cliche saying of miles per mile, right? People love attention. People love sort of that validation in society. And it's very, very interesting how human behavior is sort of evolving into that. Now, you may think that that's a good thing, you may think that that's a bad thing, but that's really irrelevant in something like Turo, because you're looking at this from a business perspective. How can you get into units like a Vanderhall or a Corvette C8 that are incredibly affordable, and you can get very high day rates on them because of the perceived value and the perceived cost by the end user. So these things are very important, and I've seen them work out very well for me. So let's kind of break down some numbers here so you guys can get an idea for what the heck it is that I'm talking about by this. The Vanderhall, a very rare car or autocycle, on the Turo marketplace. There's only a few of them, and I'm one of the hosts that has them, and I've had this for a long time, and I may add another one. And this motorcycle, it gets so confusing, gets a very high day rate because it is so unique, right? So I actually have a booking for tomorrow, and the day rate on the Vanderhall that I got for tomorrow is $286 per day. Now, there are other markets such as Vegas, for example. I haven't seen any Vanderhalls there lately, but the last time I checked, they were doing incredible because people were booking for shorter time frames, and hosts were seeing multiple bookings in a day. It's kind of like ATVs and UTVs where you could rent for 2 to 3 hours at a time, and you're paying, upwards of $250, $300 for such a small block of time. Well, Vanderhalls have a very similar effect for people, and that means more margins for you as a host. So I do anywhere from $150 to $286 per day on the Vanderhall, and I get it all day long because the perceived value and the perceived cost is there by the guest. There is a very unique experience associated with something like a Vanderhall, and it's the type of experience that people are willing to pay a premium for. So moving forward, as I think about the growth of my Turo business and expanding my fleet, I'm constantly looking for things that cost of ownership is low and the perceived value and perceived cost is very high. And let me just tell you guys really quick what I mean by perceived cost. Perceived cost is what somebody might think something like this is worth. And to give you an idea, I have heard numbers all over the map on the Vanderhall. Everything from 50K to 80 to 100, 120, because people just don't know. They just don't understand what this is. It's very new. Even though Vanderhall has been around for over 10 years, it's still very, very, very new to the market. So things like this is a great addition to the Turo marketplace, and especially because it plays into the most important factor of a platform like Turo, which is an experience. You are providing that experience. Okay, so let me wrap it up with some final thoughts here, especially for those of you that are Turo hosts and you're thinking about getting into some newer cars for your fleet. Now, first and foremost, before you ever list any car, you always want to make sure that you go on the platform and that the make and model that you are thinking about listing is actually available to list in the Turo directory, because sometimes I have seen it, and I've actually seen it happen with the Vanderhall. You go to list a car and the make and model is no longer available. So please make sure that you mitigate any potential risk by doing that due diligence before you purchase any car, before you list any car. Make sure that you can actually list it, right? Because there are limitations to that. Now let's talk about numbers really, really quick. Lately, I've been using a 15-day per month average for booking days out of a single month, right? Very different from pre-pandemic times, but I think we are getting back to that. So I am using conservative numbers. Now, at a take home rate of $200. So if my day rate is $286, I'm revenue sharing with Turo 30%. I take home 70, sorry. That means $200 per day at 15 days out of a month, times that by 12 months. Of course, it's not always that consistent. We're just kind of taking rough averages here. You are looking at roughly about $30,000 in gross profit in a year. Now for a auto cycle, that is only $26,000 at a base price. That is a phenomenal deal for something that creates such amazing experiences. This is a no-brainer. Now let's take some more conservative numbers. Let's say your day rate is around 145, so your take home is 100 after your revenue share. You still land at about $18,000 for the year at 15 days per month. That is still not bad at all. That's more than half of the total cost of the car. So if you wanted to, you could apply so much more money to the car and pay it off rather quickly. So when I see things like a Vanderhall, that makes my light bulbs go off and I'm like, this is phenomenal for margins. It meets all my criteria. The margins are there, the experience is there, the perceived value is there, and people are just so excited. Another thing why I really advocate for the Vanderhall, and hopefully their quality gets better over time because it's my only gripe with them, is that people I have found don't put a lot of miles when they're taking the Vanderhall out. And it's likely because it is so low to the ground, it's an open compartment, and it's just not one of those things that, you know, you're driving 1,000 miles and going on some crazy road trip. It's definitely a PCH type of a auto cycle. It's, you know, go just for the weekend and you're here on vacation and you're just driving locally. So that's really nice too. You overall experience far less wear and tear than you would on a regular car. So I absolutely love that. And over the years, some of the things that I figured out that may be helpful to some of you is that a lot of these parts are GM parts. This is a 1.4 liter turbo charged engine. I believe it's a GM engine. GM parts, so if you can find a really good GM mechanic, you can almost sidestep Vanderhall any delays and latency that you might experience with the brand and kind of get the Vanderhall taken care of and get any maintenance done. So my local mechanic has really come through for me for any of the issues that I've experienced, and they've been able to resolve them with GM parts. So that has made working with the Vanderhall so much easier, especially as I speak towards the maintenance side of things. So I've been very pleased with it in terms of the experience that it's been providing my renters. And honestly, what a phenomenal deal for the price. I mean, you just cannot go wrong with something like this. People are always going to be happy and satisfied. It's a front wheel drive, so the center of gravity is so much better than something like a Polaris, which really doesn't have great stability. It has a lot of slippage. So I personally feel so much safer when I drive the Vanderhall versus my Polaris Slingshot. And it's been an awesome experience. I love taking this thing out. It's raining today, so I'm gonna have to take it out another day. But on that note, you guys, thank you so much for watching. And if you like this video, be sure to like it and subscribe to my channel. Once again, my name is Saima. This is Saima's Experience, and I will talk to you guys soon. Take care, guys.